And physicals, and I found out the news on Tuesday, so I had a couple days to kind of pack up my life and kind of just come to Montreal. But no, the transition's been amazing. The team's made it super easy. It reminds me of Vancouver, so it's been easy that way. I love Vancouver, so to start actually playing the football is exciting.
What's up, guys? My name is Joel Waterman, and I currently play for the Montreal Impact in the MLS. I'm a good friend of Will's. I love what he's doing with his YouTube channel. 1K subs, congratulations, bro. Much love to you and everyone that's involved, and I'm super grateful for you asking me to be on this platform and to kind of tell my story. And before I do so, please like, subscribe, comment, do everything you can to follow Will and his journey. And yeah, let's get started. So my footballing journey started just from humble beginnings. I was born and raised in Aldergrove, British Columbia. My whole family, all avid soccer players, mom, dad, sister, brother, and myself. And we were a football family for sure. And I was always at the park watching my mom and dad play. And I started football when I was U5. My mom put me in football because I was just an active kid. Loved sports, loved being outside, loved being active. And I needed to burn off some energy, so my mom bought me a pair of boots and a pair of shin pads and kind of just said, go do your thing. And I started playing football when I was 5, like I said, and my mom was my first ever soccer coach. So that was kind of cool to, for her to be part of that journey as well. And for me, it was just all about having fun. I loved being at the pitch. My fondest memories come from just going to a local park with friends and family and literally anyone that was available, because it was my favorite place to be. So I played for Aldergrove Youth Soccer from U5 to U11. Like I said, super humble beginnings, not a very big club. And it actually got too small where I had to move just because of my skill level and how good I was actually getting. I moved to Langley United from U12 to U14. I played 2 years up in U12 just based on the skill level and bigger kids and where I was at. I needed to play with better players. So I played 2 years up in U12 and was lucky enough to be chosen for the BC provincial team when I was 13 and the National Training Center at that time. So basically handpicked as one of the best kids in British Columbia, where we go to play different teams in the States and other provinces across Canada. And super grateful for that experience, playing with the best players at that time in the province. And at that time, I really started to take football seriously and really started to think, okay, maybe this could be a livelihood, and this is something I could do for the rest of my life. And as a 13-year-old kid, it doesn't really seem possible at that time. And for me, I was just still having fun, just doing what I love to do, and that was playing football. For me, the first hardship I faced in my career was in U13. Like I mentioned before, I played for the U13 BC provincial team and the U13 National Training Center. I was one of the best kids in my province, and things were looking really, really good. I was playing well. I wanted to stay in that core group because that's where post-secondary coaches came, pro coaches came to go look at obviously the best kids in my province. And And for me, unfortunately, I got cut in U14 because I was too small. I was a late bloomer, a slender kid. Someone didn't go into his body until I was about 16, 17. So unfortunately I got cut, was told I was too small, and for me it was almost kind of devastating as a U13 kid, because up until that point I was one of the best youth players probably in the province, and I never heard no up until that point. And for me, I felt it deserving that I had to be there, and my own ego kind of got in the way, and as a kid you don't really think about those things, but it's never easy to hear no, and for me that was the first no I heard, and that was a very difficult time for me, because but more importantly, I think it was more difficult for my parents. They really saw the devastation and the sadness on my face as a young kid, and yeah, it was just unfortunate. But for me, I mean, during that time, it was, as a young kid, it's hard to really navigate through that and to kind of explain what I did. But for me, I just loved it so much, and I just worked on my technique. I worked on the things that I could control in terms of my fitness, my technique, my skill level, because I knew at the end of the day, later in my career, once I did get that size, my dad was 6'2", so I thought, my size should be coming sooner or later, and I just kept working on my technique and working the things I could control, and didn't let one coach that didn't, necessarily like me because of my size kind of define my career. So for me, it was putting that in the back of my mind, and waiting for kind of these times to say hi to those people that I never believed, and that cut me for things that I couldn't control. So it was a bit unfair in my opinion, and something that sticks with me to this day. But for me, it was a super grateful experience, because it was the first no, and I'm glad I heard it that early, because not a lot of players hear it until university, or when they're pro and they sit on the bench and they don't know what's going on, because in their own communities they're the best players. And then I moved to from Langley United when I was 14. I moved to Surrey United when I was 15. Again, the reason being because it was a bigger club, more well known. At that time, the BC SPL, basically a high performance league, where the best players would play from across the province, would play against each other. So I needed to make that move for basically the next step of my career, and moved there when I was U15, played there until I was U18. And was fortunate enough to win 2 club national championships in U16, U18. So basically we were the best team in Canada at the club level. So for me, that was really, really good for myself to get seen. Obviously post-secondary was on my mind at that time, so a lot of post-secondary coaches were at games and tournaments and things of that sort. So and from there in U18, I made the BC provincial team again, played the BC summer games in the summer, and then from there I actually got a trial with the Whitecaps residency for about a week and a half. My talent was finally getting noticed. Obviously a jump from the youth level to a Whitecaps academy where the best of the best are playing was a massive opportunity for me, and I got cut from that team. That one was a bit more difficult, just based on I kind of knew more psychologically that I just wasn't at that level yet. I wasn't ready to be a pro, and there's a lot better players than I was, and I was a late bloomer, like I said. So, but because I heard that first no when I was 13, it really helped me kind of navigate through the things I should control and the things I can do for myself. So for me, I just didn't let it define my career again. For me, I wanted to play football and also get an education, so I chose to go to Trinity Western University, a local private Christian school kind of near where I lived. And at that time, they were far from where they wanted to be. They hadn't made nationals since 2009 at that time. So I went there in 2014. Was my first year at the university, and one of the best decisions I ever made. I met so many amazing people, had so many amazing memories on the pitch and off the pitch as well. My time there was very good, not only because I got better on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. I matured as a player, I matured as a leader. I captained the side in my 5th and final year, and every year we progressed. So it was very awesome to see that in my last year we came 4th at nationals. So we were the 4th best team in the country, and seeing what that did for the university and the direction it was going, and me being a part of it, myself being a part of it, along with obviously others, was the reason why I went there. I wanted to make an imprint on that school, and obviously to keep going towards my footballing dream. And obviously the team wasn't very successful in my first couple years, which was hard because as a competitive person, I want to win at all times. It doesn't matter. For me, I just want to win and I want to succeed. And for me, I wouldn't get a lot of eyes on myself and the team if we weren't winning. So that was a tough process to get on kind of a winning track, and we started to get a lot better in my third, fourth, and fifth years. And at Trinity, I think it was in my fourth year, I had a major injury. I tore ligaments in my ankle. It was my first ever big injury in my career, and was supposed to be out for 7-8 weeks. And like you guys know, the university season is very short, so I was going to be missing probably 3/4 of it, and it was devastating for my fourth year. My first ever big injury, like I said, and you know, it happened in preseason. My last game of preseason, I was just running on turf and turned my ankle, tore some ligaments. So that was the last game of my preseason. So it was very devastating knowing that we were basically kicking off the season the week after. And for me, that was a very dark time in my career. Just based on, you want to be a part of the team, you want to find ways to be a part of the team, and if you're not on the field, you don't feel like you're any use. And but luckily, like I said, for me, I had amazing teammates and amazing coaching staff around me to allow me to feel a part of the squad and to do things. And for me during that time, and I'm sure for any player that's injured, it's all about recovery. And for me, I took my recovery seriously, and instead of it being 7 or 8 weeks, I got back in about 5 weeks. And I probably wasn't fully ready. I was probably about 90%, but for me, it was such a short season. I had to get back into it. And it's again, I'm a huge believer in controlling the controllables. And obviously there was a dark couple days where you kind of ask why do these things kind of happen. And for me, it was kind of getting out of that victim state right away into a proactive state where now you have the opportunity to recover and come back even stronger. And I focus on that and focusing on ways how I can still be a leader on the pitch for my teammates and how I can help them succeed. And luckily for me, I came back and I had one of the best seasons in my Trinity career. I think it was 6 goals, 4 assists in 9 or 10 games. So for me, it was just taking advantage of the half season I had and putting everything I had into it. And for me, personally, it was one of my best seasons at Trinity. We unfortunately got knocked out of making it to nationals in my 4th year in double overtime. So that was also obviously a tough pill to swallow. But for me personally, my injury was a massive hardship in my career, but something that again just strengthened me. It allowed me to really handle and to think about who I was off the pitch. So for me, that injury was a massive part of my journey, and I'm thankful that it happened. For me, I was very fortunate enough that the CPL came around, the Canadian Premier League, a brand new league, came around in my 5th and final year. And also, I forgot to mention, during my career in university, I played in the PDL, which is now the USL 2. I played for the Kitsap Pumas, a team out of Tacoma, Washington in 2016, the TSS Rovers, a team based out of Vancouver in 2017, and then Cavalry Foothills in 2018, where I was fortunate enough to win the PDL championship with a lot of good friends of mine. And from there, I was drafted in my 5th year. So after playing my 5 years at Trinity Western, I was drafted 14th overall by Cavalry FC, which is basically from the same manager and same players from the Calgary Foothills PDL team that I played for prior to graduating. So it kind of just worked out that I was drafted 14th overall, and it came around when it did, right when I was graduating. So I got my degree and still got to chase my professional career within Canada, which was massive. I didn't have to go overseas, which was still a possibility for me, but staying closer to home, allowing my family and friends to come see me play was a blessing. And had an amazing season with Cavalry FC. We won the spring title, fall title, ended up coming short in the CPL finals. But as a club and how it built the community and how everyone got around it, it was amazing to see the city of Calgary kind of transform from, not only a hockey city, but a footballing city too. And being a part of that and seeing how the community came out in full force was amazing to see and amazing to be a part of. And the injury bug kind of crept in with Cavalry FC too. I broke my toe. I was out about 5 or 6 weeks, and it's something with the toe you can't really recover. So this one was a bit different than my ankle. I couldn't really do any much recovery. I could ice and do different things like that, but I just had to wait till it healed, and that was really hard. Just knowing that I couldn't again be with my teammates and help the team succeed. And during that time we were in the Canadian Championship playing, MLS teams, the Whitecaps, Montreal Impact. We had some really important games in our season, so I missed a lot and got to miss out on teams seeing me play and coaches seeing me play. And but it was more devastating that I couldn't help my team succeed and help them, win games. And again, like I said, I'm a competitive person. I just wanted to play and I wanted to win and help my teammates. And for me not being able to do that and do what I loved, which was playing football, it was a very, very hard time again. And like I said, I stayed consistent. I tried to do everything possible to recover and to control the controllables, like I said, and to just stay out of that victim state, stay out of the woe is me or why is me state, and think, okay, how can I be better coming back from this? And I came back, played a very good, basically next half of the season from August to about November. And then, like I said, we won the fall title again and just came up short in the final. But from there, it was almost a one and done. For us, we played in the Canadian Championship against MLS sides. We're fortunate enough to beat the Vancouver Whitecaps, and then we came up against the Montreal Impact. Fell short of the Montreal Impact, but luckily for me that, I think they liked what they saw, and the Montreal Impact acquired me in the offseason. So it was kind of a one and done Cinderella story in the CPL. I was actually signed to Cavalry FC for the next season after that, and then I guess the story of the Montreal Impact came when a bunch of rumors and stuff started going out on social media from fans and different fan pages of there potentially being a rumor that Montreal was interested in me. And it was interesting to hear that because during the Canadian Championship I didn't play against Montreal, so I was injured, I broke my toe, and I didn't get to play against them, so they didn't get to see me play, and I guess they saw some footage. And also another thing I didn't know, during our cup run against Montreal, Tommy Wilden Jr., manager for Cavalry FC, kind of dropped a word and said, hey, to Remy Gard, Montreal's old manager, saying, hey, there's a kid not playing, Joel Waterman, keep your eye out for him. He's kind of one for the future. And I guess that was the extent of their conversation. And then in the offseason, I heard these rumors go up. And then after a couple weeks, it kind of died. So I was like, okay, I'm signing with Calgary. I'm back in Calgary. Got some unfinished business and kind of started, mentally preparing for that. And then I got a call from Tommy Wilden Jr. saying that these rumors are actually true. And that was probably about the end of December. And he was just in negotiations with them. And to me, I didn't want to get too ahead of myself. I didn't want to get too excited and kind of jinx it. But, it was kind of hard not knowing, what my future held at that point. And a week later, he kind of called me and said they've sent over some paperwork and negotiations and some numbers, and they're just kind of finalizing the deal. And the first week of January, they came to a conclusion that I would sign a 2-year deal with the Montreal Impact. And I'll never forget, I was actually just coming from a training session in the morning, and hearing the news in the car. I was on the phone, and it was something words can't even describe. It was a feeling that all the work I've put in for years and years and years, in terms of, off the field, my fitness, the hardships and injuries, my studies at Trinity Western, all the hardships and different things I had to face during my career, and getting that call was the reason why all those things kind of happened. And like I said, the no in U13 and the no in U18, if I would have made the Whitecaps in U18, I might have never had this chance. So looking back in hindsight, all those things kind of happened for a reason. And for me, it was a massive accomplishment, not only for me personally, but my friends and my family who stuck with me, who drove me to training every day, who were there watching games in the rain, in the pouring rain and thunderstorm or wherever it may have been, and my family just always supporting me. And it takes a massive village for one person to get to where they're at. And for me, that's extremely, extremely true. There's so many people that were part of my journey and a part of my village that got me to where I'm at today. And now I'm currently playing for the Montreal Impact in the MLS. And seeing kind of my journey through the Canadian ranks. Like I said, getting that call and knowing that I've essentially made it, and making that dream a reality, and going through all those steps, and words can't even really describe. I'm speechless now because of it, and I'm super grateful for the Montreal Impact and giving me that opportunity, and now I'm living a life as a footballer, something I've always dreamt of and something I'll never take for granted. I never want to cheat the game. So I'm always going to do and play my part in doing things like this, and speaking out to the community and speaking to young footballers who want to make it. And if I'm being completely honest, though, it's you kind of have to have a different mindset if you want to become a professional footballer. I think obviously looking at me, and obviously no one expected COVID to happen, but I've been in Montreal since January, and my family was supposed to come out. I haven't seen my family. You miss weddings, you miss parties, you miss different things. You have to make massive sacrifices to be a professional footballer and to perfect your craft. And for me, there's two sides to every coin. And for me, there's that one side that's amazing, and I'm getting paid to play football, which has always been my dream, and it's my dream job, and now I'm doing it. And yes, there's so many amazing things, like playing in front of thousands of people, and all the benefits of being a professional footballer. But there's also that other side of it where you have to make sacrifices, and you have to miss certain things, and sometimes it becomes a lifestyle that isn't so amazing. I would say there's times where you're going to dip in form, your confidence is going to be low. You have to have a strong mental mindset to get through those times. And I always want to tell young footballers who are aspiring to be professional footballers to know both sides of the coin. I want to be completely honest. I want to be truthful, and but I can say that the benefits of it trump every hardship that comes along with it. Just seeing what I can do for young footballers, use my platform to speak good into the world, and to play football, like I said, for a living is something truly amazing, and was always my dream from a young age. So just looking back and just getting that news that I finally made it was obviously the pinnacle of my career, and I'm so excited to see what kind of happens in the future. Obviously, I'm very happy and grateful for where I'm at now, and not really sure where my career will take me, but I'm focused on the moment and focusing on what I can do right now and controlling the controllables. So kind of seeing from where my journey was from, my Aldergrove youth soccer days to Langley to Surrey, being a part of provincial teams growing up, the Whitecaps, trial, my 5 years at Trinity Western, my PDL teams that I was a part of, and then being a one and done CPL and now in the MLS, it's the Canadian player's dream. I think you don't really see this story a lot in terms of the uniqueness of it. A Canadian player kind of going up through the Canadian ranks, when before we didn't have the Canadian Premier League to kind of go to, and to call our own league and our own professional league. And a lot of the best of the best would have to go to the States and play in the MLS, or go overseas to try and make it. And for me, I got to stay in my own country, play in front of my family and friends, which is amazing. And obviously, hearing the story makes it seem like it was super easy and a Cinderella story, which was which is far from the truth. A lot of hardships on the way, but overall, those hardships and everything made me to be not only the player I am today in football, but obviously the person. So I just want to say thank you to Will. Thank you for this platform. Like I said, if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do. I'm pretty sure my social media platforms will be in the bio or in the video, so please reach out to me if you have any questions. If you want to hear more about my journey, it was kind of a snapshot of it. I hope I connected with you guys, and please reach out if you have any questions, or I can send you any links or just any advice. I'm here for you guys, so thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.